and taking up other people's time that were trying to get ours too. And this opportunity presented itself and I took it.
Do you think that the reason you never got a COVID wave in Florida was because of any of this lockdown? Or I know you're not an epidemiologist, but what do you think was going on?
I live right by, and that was like worldwide news. People were at the beach. I was one of those people at the beach with my kids. Sunlight, it's vitamin D, it's good for your immunity. Fresh air, salt water, all these things are really good for anyone's, immune system. You have to be out. Mental health, we were all at the beach.
And so people, if there was a lot of transmission going on...
Wouldn't you think our hospitals would be flooded? They were not. I'm right at the beach. I'm right by the beach. Didn't happen.
Because the lockdowns happened after all that, and
it was spring break. The beaches were packed. I mean, there's people from all over the world. Tons of New Yorkers live by us.
What do you? I know I'm asking you to speculate here, because you really feel there is a new disease called COVID-19. Do you feel that that's the case, or do you think that this is, I know there's a lot of mislabeling and I know all that but there really is something new, right? And
yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And why do you think it, places like New York got, we can see that what you were describing at Elmhurst was that they were packing people in together. And so that would cause spread. But why do you think a place like New York got hit so much harder than other places?
I thought about that already. What I found is that before this happened, because it didn't make sense to me. I'm sitting at home, I'm waiting for work, I'm stressing out. A lot of my friends are doing the same. So I'm digging. I'm why is New York, what is it, because there's that many people crunched in together? But ultimately what I found is that the hospitals here were already struggling. I think they shut down multiple hospitals because they couldn't afford to keep them open. So that made sense to me, even though I didn't want it to make sense. There's really no other rhyme or reason, because
but do you think we really do have many more cases, regardless of whether or not people went to the hospital?
I think they're forced cases. Sure, people are coming in with COVID, whatever that may be. It is something. But not everyone, but they're admitting these people. That's the difference between New York hospitals or these, Michigan, the states that were, hit the hardest, quote. They're admitting these patients as possible COVID, calling it COVID.
Or rule out COVID.
When they maybe just had a little congestion.
If there was something you would want to tell everyone in the country and everywhere else, what one last thing, what would it be?
I would say this is the one thing that I've had a struggle with, is if someone like me or anybody is trying to tell you something that might go against your beliefs, just listen, really just take it in, and instead of jumping on it, think on it for a night or a day and look into this stuff, and ask people about it. Not every nurse is going to have the same experience. A med-surg nurse that's on the floor, even in my own hospital, has not had the same experience as the ICU nurses have. And once I sit down and explain it to them, it all makes sense. They're like, yeah, that makes sense. We see that because we'll send them to your, so just think about it, and be respectful, and we don't want to, no one wants to put themselves in a situation like this, and it's really hard. And this is the reason that a lot more people and nurses are afraid, because people are so quick to, defend something that they don't really understand.
What are you referring to in particular? This protocol, or what?
Like I referred to earlier, if you tell people something enough over and over, like the media was telling people, fence, 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 fence. And then you say, as a nurse, no vents, it's not a good,
right.
It's not a good position to be in, because I'm going against what the government says. But does the government really have everybody's best interest in mind? Are they thinking of, the 57-year-old grandma that, didn't have to die, or the 37-year-old that was totally fine when he walked into the emergency room and he didn't have to die? Are they thinking about, maybe the guy that had a drug problem that didn't have to be vented, but he saved his own life? I don't have anything to gain. I have everything to lose by sharing what I'm sharing right now, but so be it. I think it's important that these families get closure, and I hope that someday they'll be able to, hold them accountable for what they did.
A few days after we recorded this interview, Erin began to feel that her time at Elmhurst was drawing to a close. Her vocal questioning of hospital procedure and her efforts to get the word out on social media were getting noticed. She made this recording on what ended up being her last day at the hospital.
I've been taking care of a patient for a week right now, and this is my and I called them. And he's been doing great. He had a trach put in, and he's been doing great. He's been talking and or communicating with me. He's telling me, laughing at my jokes, and talked to his kids on FaceTime a couple days ago. And I told his kids that he was doing fine. And he was. And today I was giving him, and they came in and they told me that I need to leave the room and I have to give report to somebody else. They took me from that unit and they put me in the emergency room, and they don't need me there, but they put me there, and I'm not even there 20 minutes. I'm not even there 20 minutes, and I hear a code being called in my room that I was just left, and it's him. And he was fine. He was fine. I don't understand that. Nothing makes sense. Why would they take me out of his room and put me in the ED, and then not 20 minutes later he's dead? It doesn't make sense. Did they kill him? He was my one patient that was gonna live. He shouldn't have died. I don't know what they did to him. Something's not right.